unemployed and I need a job.
I have 20 years plus experience in my field.
I have things I can bring to other companies.
How do I stand out?
So what's the best way to network?
I have a headhunter. I'm on Career Builder.
Is now the time for me to go after my dreams?
MySpace, Facebook, Twitter.
Do I need to go back to school to get a job?
I'm looking for the high-paying jobs. I feel like I used to know where the jobs were.
LinkedIn.
When is the economy going to turn around?
Where do you go from here?
Welcome back to a special CNBC Town Hall. We promised you more jobs, so we're going to jump right in, and we've got to talk healthcare. The industry is expected to add 3 million jobs over the next 5 years, and salaries in the business projected to increase as much as 22%. That's pretty good news in this or any job market. We want to talk jobs in healthcare with Jim. You recruit in this area. We hear about, all right, Merck and Pfizer, there's all this consolidation. They're cutting jobs as they merge. Where's the growth coming from, and be specific?
Carl, there are different sectors of healthcare, a huge industry. There's health management, hospital systems, there's pharmaceutical companies, nursing, biotech. Those are 4 sectors that are growing very rapidly. And within that, there are positions that go across, again, the nursing all the way up to hospital administration and executive positions.
All right. Does it necessarily entail going back to school? I mean, not everybody has time to get their RN.
There are 2 ways to reset and retrain, whether it's healthcare or anything else. There's a formal way, which is going back and getting the necessary academic credentials, but there's also an informal way, and that is you go in, become a part of the community. Pick a sector within healthcare. Say you're interested in hospital administration. There are communities, there are trade shows, there are trade publications. Read, talk to people. Don't come across as you're just interested in healthcare because it's a fad, because it's growing. Become knowledgeable.
I think when you think of healthcare, you think of nurses, right? And you look at these health systems now. If you have 40 hospitals in a system, they'll have 15 to 20,000 openings in a year. These are massive numbers of openings, all different kinds of jobs. So don't just think that you have to be in a box. The other thing I heard about training, you look at rad techs, med techs. These can be 6, 9, 12-month training programs. So if you have a little bit of emergency fund, you have the ability to redirect your career and think about healthcare.
It's interesting, too, because healthcare is one of those industries that's actually rather big in some of the states losing the most jobs.
True.
I mean, you look at Michigan as an example. That's a place where healthcare obviously has been growing.
They're talking about networking, which is the key to all this. And once you find the industry you're looking at and interested, literally go on the internet and search for conferences and make a face-to-face appearance. There are people in this audience that came from Ohio, I think it was, and from Orlando, Florida. That's fantastic. There really is. And if you have that kind of drive and you're saying, you know what, there's a conference in Pittsburgh, I'm willing to go to it, and I might have to sleep in my car, but that's okay. It's a temporary situation. Right. It's more important to go out there.
So let's get to our audience now. Mike, go ahead.
I'm Shashank, and I'm from New York. And my question is that given the projection in growth in the healthcare industry and the increase in salary, what kind of retraining would be required to join it for someone who's, say, typically in the financial profession?
Well, so did you go to college?
I did.
And what did you study?
Economics.
So economics and hospitals go great together. Let's talk about why, right? So if you look at the hospital systems, they're looking at projections. They're maybe looking at a new region to open more hospitals or to consolidate more healthcare facilities. So you might have the ability to actually do a job very similar to what you've done, actually move into a health system. Other than that, you're going to need to go back to school, and I think this is that passion we were referring to earlier. If you want to go back and be a doctor or be an RN or be a rad tech, you have that ability to do that. You just have to plan your life in accordance.
What about online? I mean, there's a lot of ways to train yourself, right? You go to community colleges, have programs, I'm sure, where you could specialize or take a focus, for example, on healthcare. You could go online, and there are a lot of programs that you could do. Are there any industries, not just healthcare necessarily, that are especially conducive to short training programs that can get you a job, you know, the 3 or 6 months?
Well, I think one of the biggest things is people started off going to college, but they didn't graduate. And I think there are so many programs now. Let's talk about the most branded programs like the University of Phoenix. But every university now offers online programs and an ability to finish your college degree. That could be the single most important thing in terms of building your confidence and also putting you in that next run in terms of being able to be qualified for a job. Having a college degree is critical right now for most jobs that are out there.
I learned an important thing when I went through graduate school, and that was people can take your job, but they can't take your degree away from you. So it's an investment you're making in the rest of your life, and the stigma of online training it's gone. It's not there. It was there, but as long as it's an accredited university, it's important. It has to be an accredited university and sanctioned, then it's a safe place to go.
And there are a lot of accredited ones online.
There are a lot of them out there.
Let's add another audience question.
My name is Earl. I'm from New Jersey. I was laid off over the summer in the technology field. I've been told several times that the jobs in tech are in Texas and Atlanta area. Feeling the way I'm feeling, anxious, just I want to get back to work. Is now the time to just pack up my life, leave my family, and move, or stay in New Jersey, New York City area, and keep pursuing the career?
So let's get some specifics. What's your job title? What were you doing in college?
I was a marketing associate for a technology company, and I went to school. It was a credit school at King's College in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania.
So I think from my perspective, if you're in marketing, you don't need to be intimidated by the technology thing. You have the ability to move across industries with marketing. Okay. Do you have any online experience? Because I think a lot of the new marketing is online.
I do have online experience. I have my own blog set up as well, and I've been doing some pro bono work with an Alzheimer's Foundation, helping them get their internet marketing campaign up and running.
One of the things about marketing is it's about irons in the fire. You're going to have hundreds of people that are competing for a few jobs. But one of the things I find is most people, like I said earlier, don't follow through. So you want to get really curious about 8 to 10 companies that you'd really like to work for, and then just start scrounging around in these companies. And you should be willing to take a job in the mailroom, taking a job in the PR area where you could volunteer 3 days a week, anything to get you started.
Is it Earl?
Yes.
Your question, I think, was about relocation. And if I heard you right, you said, should I leave my family?
You're right.
Okay, personal experience, okay? I'm from Miami, Florida. Okay. I work in the financial industry as a coach to traders, banks, etc. They're in New York. For 2 years, and I have 3 kids. I commuted from Miami to New York. I finally decided, you know what, my family, my career is going to be up here, and I had to make that commitment and the sacrifice, and my family moved back up here. I hit the bid on my house in Florida, took a 35% loss, and I have a client now that lives in upstate New York and had to commute to the city. What I'm saying to you is that if it requires a short-term sacrifice, then go for it.
How long until you have to make that call?
Until you have to make that
call. Jim, how long does a job search need to go? 90 days, 120 days before you start making big changes to your life?
Look further afield, right?
Well, the amount of time that it takes is actually a function of the other criteria and constraints that you put. So Earl has the relocation challenge. If he liberates that constraint, that might allow him to go and shorten the amount of time. So it's really a matter of trade-offs. The other thing I would just say to Earl is that, by the way, that's great that you're doing that volunteer work, that you're generating those relationships and skills, but you also want to take some people who know you, and who take those 8 or 10 companies that you're targeting and have someone who go out and market you, rather than all yourself having to go forward and put yourself out there. Say, we know this guy named Earl, he's amazing, he's entrepreneurial, he's giving back.
Do we pay these people? You don't mean an agent?
No, not an agent, but it's a friend, it's a trusted colleague who can go out and say, you really need to talk to my friend Earl, who is a terrific guy. You need to take a look at him.
All right, let's go down to Tampa. We have a question here coming in from Tampa, Florida. Let's listen in.
I'm going to be graduating in May with a degree in finance, and I wanted to know how I could possibly get an entry-level job in the struggling sector.
That was Josh from Tampa, and actually this one caught my attention because I got an email from Cantor Fitzgerald, who, as Carl and I know, is a financial services firm, big presence in New York. They said, Aaron, please report, we're hiring, multiple explanation points. So it would seem, while we keep hearing about complete and utter destruction in financial services, there may be hiring. Is that true, Jim?
Well, again, it's very interesting that there are a lot of new jobs that are coming out of financial services. At Spencer Stuart, we've done 300 senior executive searches since October in financial services alone. And there are companies, not only Cantor Fitzgerald, but Wells Fargo, MetLife, Edward Jones, Chase, Fifth Third Bank. They are hiring. So it's about finding those companies and working your way into them to get the opportunity.
All right. Well, there are, as you said, lots of jobs out there, and even in finance. If there's jobs in finance, let's just say there have got to be jobs in a lot of other places. For more information, as we've been telling you, who is hiring, where actually they're hiring in terms of what states, go to our website. That's jobs.cnbc.com.